Have you ever thought about how powerful Daredevil really is? Without super strength, futuristic armor, or magical hammers, Matt Murdock uses only his senses and skills to face enemies that would make even Captain America hesitate. Here is a thought-provoking question. Would Daredevil be a more efficient fighter than Batman himself, considering only training and endurance? Today, we'll dive into Daredevil's incredible world and discover how he became a true legend, even without the powers that so many other heroes possess. I want to hear from you in the comments. Who wins in a fight, Batman or Daredevil? Let's begin. Matt Murdock's story began to transform when he was still a child. While walking through Hell's Kitchen, he witnessed an elderly man in danger, about to be hit by an out-of-control truck. Courageously, Matt ran to save the man, but the truck was carrying radioactive chemical materials. During the rescue, the chemicals leaked and directly hit Matt's face. Contact with these corrosive substances caused instant blindness. He completely lost his sight. But what seemed to be an irreversible tragedy turned out to be the starting point for something extraordinary. While his eyes were permanently damaged, his other senses, hearing, smell, taste, and touch, were amplified to superhuman levels. Additionally, he developed a kind of sensory radar that allows him to perceive the world around him like sonar, similar to bats. This accident not only changed Matt Murdock's life, but also gave rise to the vigilante we know as Daredevil, the protector of Hell's Kitchen. How can radiation alter the human body? ***. In the real world, radiation typically causes damage to cell DNA.
I've been watching them all night. And then you guys show up.
Resulting in mutations that are usually harmful and can lead to diseases like cancer. However, in fiction, radiation is often portrayed as a catalyst for extraordinary abilities. Examples like the Hulk and Spider-Man show how Marvel characters had their bodies transformed by radiation, gaining superhuman strength or incredible powers. In Matt Murdock's case, the radiation from the chemicals was represented as an element that restructured his nervous system. Although this explanation goes far beyond real science, it creates a fascinating fictional basis to explain how his enhanced senses work. One of the most accepted explanations in the Marvel universe is that the radiation not only blinded Matt, but also triggered changes in his central nervous system, amplifying his sensory capabilities. Imagine that the radiation acted as a trigger to reprogram the nerves and sensory receptors in his body, allowing them to capture stimuli with impossible precision for ordinary humans. In reality, while there are no records of radiation causing such effects, there are phenomena like neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt to injuries or changes. People who lose their sight, for example, often report an amplification of other senses, but never to superhuman levels like Matt's. Still, the idea that radiation could accelerate and amplify this process is an intriguing fictional theory that captures fans' imagination. What sets Daredevil apart from any other blind hero is his incredible radar sense. This power works like a biological sonar, allowing Matt to perceive the world around him in incredibly detailed ways, even without sight. His radar sense is comparable to echolocation used by bats and dolphins, animals that emit sounds and analyze reflected echoes to map their environment. In Matt's case, he doesn't need to emit audible sounds. His body captures vibrations in the air, echoes from external noises, and even subtle changes in airflow to build a three-dimensional mental map. This gives him 360-degree perception, allowing him to see the world with precision, even in conditions where traditional vision would be useless. Like complete darkness. He can perceive objects, textures, movements, and even faces, although his perception is more based on shapes and vibrations than colors or visual details. While Matt's radar sense is fictional, there are real cases of blind humans using sounds to orient themselves, a process known as human echolocation. Some blind people can snap their fingers or make clicks with their tongue and, from the echoes of these sounds, identify objects around them and navigate complex environments. This ability, although limited compared to Daredevil's level, demonstrates how the human brain can adapt and utilize remaining senses in surprising ways. In Matt's case, his radar sense is a hyper-amplified version of this natural ability. The chemical radiation that hit him may have reconfigured his nervous system, making his sensory receptors incredibly sensitive to sounds and vibrations. While in real life echolocation requires practice and has limitations, Matt achieves a level that seems almost supernatural. One of the most fascinating ways to imagine Daredevil's radar sense is to think of his brain functioning like a superprocessor. When sound waves or vibrations reach him, his brain converts them into a three-dimensional mental map. It's as if he had a real-time digital model of the environment around him, allowing him to detect not just static objects, but also movements, breaths, and minimal changes in space. Daredevil's hearing goes far beyond human limits. He can hear conversations miles away, capture even the subtlest sounds in his environment, and distinguish the lowest noises in a busy place like the streets of New York. Additionally, Matt has the ability to detect a person's heartbeat, a trick he uses to identify lies or perceive emotions like fear. The sound of an individual's heart becomes a powerful indicator of their emotional state or intentions. The scientific explanation for Matt Murdock's super-developed hearing is related to the auditory cortex, the area of the brain responsible for processing sounds. Normally, this cortex detects limited frequencies, depending on human hearing. In Matt's case, the radiation and damage caused by the chemicals altered the functioning of his auditory perception, considerably expanding the auditory cortex's ability to process high-frequency and low-intensity sounds. This enabled an extremely detailed perception of the world around him, allowing him not only to hear distant sounds but also to distinguish between different types of noises with superhuman precision. In scientific terms, his brain likely processes sound waves much more efficiently, increasing his ability to locate sound sources and even detect emotional nuances in heartbeats. Among Matt Murdock's enhanced abilities, smell is one of the most underestimated, but also one of the most useful. He can track people by scent, identifying unique aromas as if they were individual signatures. This allows him to follow someone even in a crowd or chaotic environments, something essential in investigation missions or pursuits. Moreover, his sense of smell is so acute that he can detect chemical substances in the air, such as gas or toxic residues, before they become a threat. This level of precision is comparable to that of sniffer dogs trained to locate drugs or explosives. Like these dogs, Matt uses his sense of smell to locate objects or people with impressive precision, even without visual clues. Matt's taste is equally surprising. He has the ability to identify chemical compositions in food and drinks with incredible precision, distinguishing ingredients and even minimal traces of foreign substances. This ability is especially practical in dangerous situations, such as detecting poisons in food before consuming them. Among Matt Murdock's hyper-developed senses, touch is perhaps the most impressive in its precision. He can detect almost imperceptible vibrations in the environment, such as an approaching person's step, even if they're trying to be stealthy. This ability makes him practically impossible to surprise, even in chaotic environments. In the human body, touch is processed by millions of nerve endings in the skin, particularly in the fingers, which have a high concentration of sensory receptors. These endings are responsible for capturing stimuli such as pressure, vibration, and temperature. In Matt's case, the chemical accident seems to have amplified these nerve connections, allowing him to perceive details that an ordinary person would never notice. He also masters various combat techniques, such as boxing, Muay Thai, Kung Fu, and ninjutsu, becoming an incredibly versatile fighter. His strength, although human, reaches almost superhuman levels thanks to his dedication to training. This includes feats like withstanding devastating blows and maintaining performance in prolonged fights. Beyond his physical strength, Matt's mental resilience is one of the most fascinating aspects of his anatomy. With such sensitive senses, he is constantly exposed to sensory overload. The intense noises of New York, mixed smells, and surrounding vibrations could easily overwhelm his mind and render him unable to act. However, he has developed an incredible ability to filter and control the flow of sensory information. This is partly due to his consistent practice of meditation, which allows him to achieve a state of absolute concentration. Meditation helps Matt find balance amid chaos, allowing him to process sensory data with precision without being overwhelmed by it. This mental resilience also makes him capable of enduring extreme physical pain, such as severe injuries or torture, without losing focus. His willpower is unshakable, allowing him to continue fighting even when everyone else would have given up. Now it's your turn. Which of Daredevil's abilities impresses you the most? Do you believe science could one day recreate something similar? Leave your opinion in the comments because we want to hear what you think. And don't forget, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to not miss any incredible content like this. See you next time.